Just want to start by introducing myself. I'm Amy Horton. I'm a director of product management, and I work with our Appian solutions. So today we're going to be talking about contract lifecycle management, how you can actually use Appian to streamline your contracts with our AI-powered solution that out of the box has a lot of capabilities so you can quickly get started. Gartner really says that contract lifecycle management is a solution that proactively manages contracts from the initiation stage all the way through award, compliance, and renewals. In other words, typically we think about contract work, we think about drafting contracts, reviewing, negotiation, and having to sign that contract. But there's a lot to a contract lifecycle management that includes activities outside of that, such as measuring performance of those contracts, tracking your deliverables, amending the contracts when terms change. And that's what we really wanted to focus on. We felt that this was a really great fit for Appian to help you with your contracting process, no matter what that process looks like. So we want you to be able to do procurement contracts, sales contracts, maybe employee contracts, whatever contracts your business needs to operate and be a successful business. So let's talk about some of the common challenges that we've heard in the contract lifecycle management suite. Appian's been working in this space for a long time, for most of our existence. The core challenges have always been knowing where each contract is in the process, who it's with, what they're supposed to be doing with it, and where it's supposed to be going next. And there's long delays, and because you don't have that visibility into what is happening. There's also data everywhere. You may have it in an email, you may have it on a spreadsheet about when you need to do renewals. You don't have a good tracking of visibility into what that could look like. And then once it's signed, how do you know what you're supposed to be delivering or what they're supposed to be delivering? How are you tracking that? How are you managing it? When are those renewals or those contracts ending that you may need to take steps to either extend the contract or enter into a new contract, maybe look for a different vendor to do what you need. That presents a lot of challenges to your business. How do you it can contribute to lost revenue, increase risk and compliance? How are you managing all of that? Email, a lot of the customers we're speaking to are saying that they're managing it through spreadsheets and email. Finding the most correct version of the contract can be challenging. Sometimes departments are working off of 2 different versions of the contract. So those are the main challenges that we heard, and we felt like this was a great fit for Appian. So what we did is we went out and we started to look at the type of features we really thought would be most powerful for contract lifecycle management. We want that no-code workflow, similar to what you saw in case management studio earlier today from Malcolm. We're actually going to be utilizing some of that here for contract lifecycle management, allowing you to be able to create your workflows that you need without a low-code developer, allow you to create the review processes your different contract types need in order to get to the end, to that fully executed contract. And next, we're going to have a centralized contract repository and a template repository. If you're using a specific template for your different contract types, it can be associated to your contract type. That way, the most current one is always being shown to your users, and you don't have to worry that they may be using an incorrect version. We're also going to allow for that no-code experience for contract setup. Just like you saw earlier today with Case Management Studio, contract types can be set up and configured without a low-code developer. Your policy group, your legal group can go in and they can tell you what our contract types are. They can define what data is needed for it. They can define the workflow, and it allows them to adjust in real time as the environment or the situations change. Next, we also introduced AI, similar to what you saw earlier, but we took it a step farther. What if you're generating a new contract that your company's not used to generating? You're branching out to something new. We're going to allow AI to help you, guide you through to generate that contract content with the human in the loop, meaning that you're not going to just take verbatim what AI gives you. You're going to review it, you're going to tweak it to your liking, but at least it will get you started. And lastly, we're going to leverage the best of the Appian platform. We're going to have Process HQ, which you've seen a lot about, where you can go in and analyze your processes over time, identify where you may have inefficiencies and where you can go and correct them. You also will have Data Fabric insights so that you can, in real time, ask questions, get answers to, and generate different charts that you may need to see for those ad hoc questions that come up. So let's talk about the first user persona that we're going to talk about. I'm going to be demoing a lot of the solution to you here. So first, we're going to look at it from an end user. Patrick, he's a day-to-day worker that basically does the process and the throughput for all of the contracts. So his day-to-day is making sure that he's doing all of his tasks. He has contracts that he needs to draft, review. He has some activity that he needs to take care of. So we're going to talk about him to begin with before we go into later what it looks like for the studio configuration. So here's the landing page of Contract Lifecycle Management. It's personalized for Patrick. It has Patrick's key APIs, actions he can take, his contracts, as well as his tasks and his calendar. Everything that he needs to do his job right at his fingertips. You can also filter and change the look. Maybe he's part of a bigger group and he wants to see what his group is looking on. He can go ahead and do that. You can also see his tasks and reviews are right there front and center for him, knowing what the due date is, what the task is, what he's looking to work on. He also has a quick calendar view that will show him dates where he has a lot of due dates. He has a lot of things due that he needs to take action on, helping him manage his workload. Next, we have our contract repository. This is a listing of all the contracts in your system with key information, ways to filter so that you can quickly figure out and look for the contracts that you need so that as you're working, you can easily gain everything. And then for third parties, these are all the organizations that you do business with. You have a record for them, whether they're an organization or a person. This allows you to make sure that data accuracy is maintained, that your users no longer have to enter in that vendor's address, phone numbers, email, any information about that, they can maintain in the record one time, and then you guarantee it's all right. So with these contracts, let's talk about what the contract visibility looks like. So from the landing page, we're going to go in and look at this NDA contract. And this probably looks very similar to Case Management Studio because we're using that as the foundation. You can see the information here, the details. Your latest contract version is front and center. You have access to all the versions, but front and center is your most recent one. You have the milestones that you work through. You also have the tasks, the active tasks, the resolved tasks. You can see them at any point. And lastly, we're going to allow you to comment. And the power behind this commenting is that you can actually add in comments. You can tag your users. You can upload files. So if you are getting email information or other chats, you can quickly upload it into this, ensuring that all the information and data and visibility and communication about this contract is in one central place for all the users that have access to it. So all the departments are working from the same information. And just like that, we have ensured that we're up to date on the contract. They can also see the tasks tab, that has the visualization, as well as any tasks that have already queued and completed. You'll see due dates. You can assign due dates. You can go in and assign people to these tasks if you need to. We also have the tasks across the milestones across the top, where you can clearly see how many tasks are in each one, allowing you to determine where you are in the process, how much more you have to go, very quickly without having to call Patrick and ask him what the status is. You can come in and find this out for yourself. We have the Documents tab, so you can see all the documents that are associated here. And we also have the History tab that gives you a history of what has changed, what's been updated. Anything action that happens on this contract is very easily visible here to help with auditing. So let's create a contract from scratch. So if we go to the landing page, click Create Contract. This is a standard page that we've created for every single contract type that comes out of the box, where you can give the contract a name. You can quickly search, find your third party. It's a record. You're going to give it a purpose so that everybody understands what the purpose of this contract is. But next, you're going to look at the contract types. These contract types are all the types that are configured inside of the system with a description to help guide your users. If I choose the non-disclosure agreement, I can then choose the type of document. Do I want to create it from a template, third party, or AI? This next page in the create process is actually specific to the NDA. These are fields that my legal or privileged users have determined they need in order to execute their NDA contract. So this can be different for every contract that you have in the system. It can also be multi-page. And so just like that, we're going to hit submit, and then Appian is going to create not only the record, but it's actually going to start creating the document for you. Because by checking the contract type, I now know what template has been associated with it, so I can actually start that contract process for you. So when we click into the summary view of this one that we just created, you can see everything is there. The document is there. I actually have a task that's already started and I need to complete. I need to make sure that I've done all the prep work to start this. I'm assigning it to myself, and then I can actually go in and complete it. So this will allow me to make sure that everything stays on track, as well as if I only have time to create it, but I don't have time to do some of the tasks, I can always come back and do it later. And I can go visually see what my tasks look like. So with that, the fun part is now with the contract creation, where we actually are here and we're going to open up that contract. That contract is now opened in Office 365. The solution's automatically integrated with it, and I've already auto-populated the vendor's name and their address that was on that organization's record, which is highlighted there for you. Now my users different departments can work on this contract together. Maybe you need to redline it. Maybe you need to review it and figure out what is we need to change the language. You can all do that in Office 365 with the versioning and the redlining all tracked in there for you. And it's front and center for your users at all times. Let's talk about the review process here. Review processes are very important when we're inside of contracting, and we try to put that front and center for you. So users can actually go into their contract and look at, it seems to be having a little bit of jet lag, just like me, but they can go into their tasks and their contracts, and they can establish a review process. They can submit it for review for a variety of users. With that being said, it's not playing right now, but we will pretend that your users will get those tasks for you and they will be able to review them. So reviews for different departments. You can establish them based upon different criteria. Maybe if it's a certain type of contract for a certain department over a certain amount, I need this review process. And then that will be presented to your end users. But with AI, what we're doing for the contract creation is we allow you to upload a reference document. Maybe this document is similar in structure, maybe it's similar in content to what you want to create. It's an example reference document. And as AI is processing this document and uploading it, what they're going to do is it's going to break it down and say, these are the sections based on the reference document you gave me. These are the sections you need. You can easily rename them. You can reorder them. You can add new sections. Maybe you realize, oh, I also need this other section because this is a common section my company likes to use, but AI didn't pick it up. So we're giving you that flexibility. Again, AI is helping the human. It's not doing all of the work. The human has to confirm this. So after I've got all of my sections done, I've got them in the order that I want, I can then go in and expand each section. And here AI has pulled out questions it thinks you need to answer based upon the reference document to fill in this and create this contract. So you can give them one-word answers. You can write sentences. You can then tell it what type of content you want it to create and how long. When you click Generate Content, the section will generate the actual content based upon the purpose of the contract as well as the information that is entered. You don't necessarily need to enter any answers. You'll just get a better AI paragraph if you answer the questions. And with that, you can save and close to come back later. Maybe you don't have time to do the rest of the sections, or you can actually create the contract and then it will generate the contract for you. And from that point, you're at the same spot as the other users where you can, the other contract types, where you can actually start reviewing them, share them with users, submit them for review, doing all the normal steps of your processes that you would need to do in order to get this contract out the door. So now we're going to move on to our next configuration studio. In our next user, Carol, who is an attorney. She enables people like Patrick to do their day-to-day work, and she's trying to ensure that they are following the correct procedures to ensure compliance, reduce risk for the company. And so she needs to go in and set up a lot of the contract types, what data do they need, what is the workflow going to look like for that contract type. So here's where you'll see we're landing on a Configuration Studio, the landing page. Looks similar, a little bit different than Case Management Studio. We have all the contract categories on the home page, and then we actually have the data tab. This shows you all the data that is available for all contract types. So we also then have a tasking tab where you can go in and define your tasks, individual tasks that allow you to use in workflow, or you can actually do task blocks. Maybe your task should always flow in a certain 1, 2, 3, and you want to create those blocks to make setting up workflow easier in the next step. So, and we always provide visualization. And this is where you establish your review rules that say, hey, my IT contracts over a certain amount need to do this. And lastly, you have your template library where you can upload and manage your templates. So what we're going to do here is click on the non-disclosure agreement from the landing page, and you're going to see all the details of this contract, such as the prefix, what its default priority is, who's the default group that owns these contracts. You then can look at your data. You can see that the NDA has a field that's defined as the Boolean, funny that Malcolm mentioned that, and it is a specific field that we need for NDAs only. And so that's all defined for you. And then on the intake form, this is the form that Patrick saw on that second step. I can go in and easily change it. And once I change it or add fields, it will be saved, and then the next user will see those multiple, we'll see the new configuration. So here I'm adding a drop-down box. It's, I can change the label. I can select what data should be in that drop-down box. I can even add a new page. Maybe they want the organization organized in separate things. It's easier to consume, so my privileged user can do that from here. We're gonna not save this because we don't want to change it for everybody. And then we can go for the workflow. In this section is where you define the milestones for each contract type. This is where you define what the tasks are. You define whether there's dependencies. And then you can visually see what that workflow looks like right there as you're working on it. And lastly, we're going to allow you to add those custom fields out into the summary page. So if you have data that you added, specifically for the NDA, you can now go in and manage those data fields and add them to your summary field, ensuring that everybody has the visibility for the data that is inside the system. And here we're looking at our tasks more closely. What we want is to showcase at the top your recent tasks that you maybe work on. You can also search for them, but you can see here that I can go in and I can easily change SLAs, you can change groups, and then the next time after you save this, it will take effect. You can also create a brand new task. Maybe during Process HQ, using that, you've realized, oh, I have a lot of ad hoc tasks being added, and I'm just going to go ahead and create this task type in my workflow so that my users can stop doing that. So this is one of the ways that you can address and improve your process as you learn more about how users are using it. You can also provide them with SLAs, again, that will help you ensure that your business, figure out where you have bottlenecks in your process. If people aren't meeting the timelines, you can do an insight and discover why maybe that is happening. So with the review rules, these are the rules that you can set up. They're pretty flexible. You can actually define its name, and then you can set all sorts of different conditions. You can add more conditions, you can add condition groups, but this allows you to basically say these contract types with these different values, maybe they all follow the same process. Maybe if it's a certain department, it needs a different process. Maybe dollar value, maybe it's all three. And so we're giving you the flexibility to set up those reviews. That way, that when the end user goes in to submit for review, they're automatically presented with that process. They can assign specific users to it, and then they can send it out with due dates. And last, let's look at the template library. So it's a list of all the templates that you have in the system that you can easily filter. Sometimes there's lots of them. You can see here in the master service agreement, we just have one. We have the current template. We have details about it. We also have instructions on how to get it to auto-populate the values that you input into it. And we make it quite easy to upload a new version of this template. But what happens with the previous templates? Well, we still keep those too. What we do in here is we're showing the current one, but we're also showing the previous ones. We really want users to be able to go back and look at certain language to do comparisons. There's a lot we want to add into with AI to help them with their template repository and managing that. So what's next? Well, we're hoping to release the solution this year, And this is a sneak peek on what we have for our 1.0 version of it coming out soon. We have a lot of great features that we're going to be adding in. So please come talk to me, schedule a demo, talk to your partner or AE. We're meeting with people right now, scheduling in-depth demos so that we can show it to you in real time and not just on videos. We're also interested in having more users, with the beta program. So if you want to trial this solution out to see if it works for your company, we would be interested in having you be part of our beta program. And lastly, you can visit our booths to see our Case Management Studio app, and some of our other solutions are there. And like I said, this is very similar to our Case Management Studio, but it's designed for a very specific business problem on contract lifecycle management. Okay, with that, I think I can open it up for Q&A.
Currently in the Case Management Studio, developers, well, low-code developers can still go in and add or amend the code?
So with low-code, Case Management Studio and CLM, you can actually install them and you don't need a low-code developer. If you want to extend it, you would need a low-code developer. Our goal here with Contract Lifecycle Management, as well as Case Management Studio, is to enable that citizen developer who maybe is more of a policy person, not IT, and that they would be able to easily maintain their process and their workflow without needing a developer.
Yes. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to ask. So is it possible for citizen developers and low-code developers to work together on that, for example?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. It is expected that, especially on earlier versions, you probably would need a low-code developer. So we're trying to make it extendable so that a low-code developer can go in. If they're configuring inside of our studio experience, they are, it is creating objects. So the low-code developer can go into those objects and make tweaks if they need to. Can the AI service help with contract review and red lighting? We've been exploring that and playing around with it. We have been looking at different ways that AI can help. We have found that there are different regulations in different areas that some of that process wouldn't be good for AI, but we have been doing some work inside of our lab to see what is possible for that. The templates are uploaded right there inside of Studio. You just would upload a new document, and then you can add and have a new version after you upload the original one. So when you create the template in there, you'll be able to define the details, enter in all that information about the template, and then upload the actual template. So can the contract be automatically checked against a set of predefined accepted clauses or internal policies and deviations be identified? We are working on that. We do think that that is a very good use case for AI, and we have a bunch of AI type of features that we are currently investigating how well they work and how well they would work under the rules of AI. Okay. When setting SLAs, are the respective parties alerted, notified or alerted? Yes, we're going to set the due date. So when you set the SLA, whenever that task kicks off, we're going to use the SLA to define what their due date is to ensure that they meet it. Are demos available for partners? Yes, at clients. We'll be able to demo it to you as well as maybe help you figure out how to demo it to your clients. Are licenses needed for each person when signing the documentation? Not if you're doing it through Appian. If you are, if you're using DocuSign, then yes, we're currently working on a DocuSign integration. And so you would have to have a DocuSign license for each person that was signing, or however that is set up for your organization. I think I got them all. Okay.
Yeah, a question about the licensing model. Could you explain what the licensing or the planned licensing model for this application is?
About the licensing for it?
Yeah.
Licensing for it is going to be licensed like an Appian solution. So it is a solution license. You buy that license, and all the features that we have in the solution, you're able to use in support of the license. So it in the support of the solution. So it's a little bit different than just the platform where we're expecting you to build custom apps on it. We do it for unlimited users, so you're licensing that solution for your enterprise. Any other questions? Not? Then thank you. I'll be up here if you have any other questions or want to talk to me about setting up demos. I'd be happy to chat with you. Thank you.